Good evening. Hi Gaurav, hi Mandar. So as you
Hello.
all know that, yeah, as you all know that portfolio plays a very important role in the admission process of BITS design admission process. So once you submit the scores of an ID, USAID or BITSDES, so once you're selected for this for the second round, so portfolio and interview will play a very important role in that in your marks also, total weightage also. So which is of 30% importance. So today we have two distinguished faculties, as I told Mandar and Gaurav, who will take you through the portfolio, that how should your portfolio look like, what is actually the portfolio, what are our expectations, what are the factors we will consider while evaluating a portfolio. And we will also have one more round of webinar on 18th of April regarding the interview process, that how the interview will be evaluated with the faculties and how they will cross-check the portfolio, because we'll be having uh, different set of faculties for the for the interview and the portfolio. So how this will be done. So everything will be spoken about the interview on 18th of April. So for that also you'll get a receive a link to register. But today we'll have these two faculties who will speak about the portfolio, and students, you can just drop your questions. First, please try to listen the webinar, the whole information. Then you can put your questions on the chat box. We are having five counselors who will be answering your questions, basic questions. If there are any technical questions related to the portfolio, I will be taking it at the end of the session. So please, student, first try to listen the whole webinar, then you can put your questions in the chat box. Thank you, thank you. Yes, Gaurav and Mandar can take over.
Thank you, Kumaran. Appreciate it. So hi everyone, my name is Mandar. I'm a professor here at BITS Design. I take modules with uh, take modules for visualization as well as design process. And I would like to introduce Gaurav.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. My name is Gaurav Shergill, and I'm an associate professor here at BITS Design. And I am a part of multiple modules from material studies to designing the future and more.
Superb. So as usual, I'm going to try and share my screen. And should be able to see it right about now. Someone can give me a thumbs up or
Yes, it's
anything.
visible. Yeah.
All right, great. So me and Gaurav thought that we would take you on a journey and speak to you a little bit about this word, sometimes stressful word called the portfolio. We'll talk for about 25 to 30 minutes, and then, like Kumaran was saying, we would be happy to take questions. Whatever we say here is, of course, that's one way to do it, but we have tried to collate and make a gist of the best practices that you can follow. But at the end of the day, please remember that a portfolio is a very personal, very individual piece of work. It's a window into how you think. So this is not a template. This is not a three ways to make the best portfolio. This is just more information about who the audience is and how people are going to be looking at your portfolio. Yeah. So what is your portfolio? It's your story, like we were saying, told through images and words, right? Uh, Images, because visuals are a way that we communicate. A picture speaks 1,000 words, like they say, and words because that's how you kind of communicate the intangible things that you can't put in a image. So it's just images and words. Now these images could be still images, moving images, all of that. The other thing that it does, it really showcases your passion, your skills, and most importantly, your journey. So when we say passion and skills, it does not mean that it should only showcase um, skills at a level which are professional. It showcases the skills you have. We have not said here great skills, exemplary skills, outstanding skills. It's just the skills that you have, the passion that you have, and most importantly, the journey that you've been in. So overall, I think it should highlight the question of why design. Okay, why this kind of a creative career? What made you choose design? What excites you? Um, how do you explore creative ideas? How do you go about your thinking? And the backstory behind it. So why is your portfolio important to BITS Design School, right? I mean, we've talked about what a portfolio is, but everything that exists, there's a reason behind it. Yeah. So we talked about the portfolio, but now the reason behind the portfolio is the portfolio will help us understand, and this is important because this is the objective of the portfolio. If you understand this, everything else will kind of fall into place. So it helps us understand who you are as an aspiring designer, not who you want to be, but who you are today as an aspiring designer. So again, it comes back to your passion, your interests, your skills, your creative sensibilities, and any other thing that you have done today, which kind of defines you in terms of a design context or a creative context. Second is your journey. Uh, Design in most cases is not about just the output, right? It's about how you think, how you explore. It's about trying different things, experimenting. Innovation, new ideas come from experiments. They don't come from just doing what is being told or doing what is the conventional way to do something. So your creative journey, your creative spark, and more importantly, the journey, which means how do you think is important. Both of these lead to the third point, which is your potential. Now, this is a little bit um, subjective, right? Uh, because you know your potential also grows the way you grow. And sometimes it can be quite difficult to convey this, but you need to really think of how you can convey your potential. So how well does your work align with our designing environment? So your potential at BITS Design and how do these two match is an important factor. Then your passion, uh, the effort, the attention to detail, the energy that you put into your portfolio really shows your enthusiasm and your passion for design. That's important. And so we looked at what is your portfolio. We've talked a little bit about why is your portfolio important to BITS Design, to say who you are as an aspiring designer, talk about your creative journey, talk about your potential, especially when it comes to BITS Design, and finally, talk about your passion. Gaurav, maybe you could take them through the
Yeah.
what.
Yeah, thank you, Mandar. All right, so the next part of the session where we talk about what should your portfolio contain, right? Because oftentimes, we interact with our friends, our family, someone studying design, someone we know who's a designer. Oftentimes we also go to design agencies, correct, that tell us that this is what your portfolio should look like, correct? But this is what we have drafted, and I think what we feel is that once we in a way follow these steps, you come much closer to for us to understand what is really there in your mind and how do you really go about doing the process, correct? All right, so yeah, what should your portfolio contain? Can we go next? So, the first thing that oftentimes we have as a question is how many pages, how much is too much, correct? Or how little should we do, right? There is definitely not like one final answer that we can give you, but what we have is like a ballpark figure where we say 10 slides is a good amount of, space that you will take in terms of the number of pages that will help us, understand your skill sets and your interests. But say as a max, because we often get this question even in our classrooms, what is the max that I can go to, right? That's where we mentioned 20 slides, all right? But having said that, if you feel there is a project or if there's something that's really creative that you've come up with and it doesn't really fit into your slides, there's also an option for you to get into submitting a video, all right? So we'll talk about a little later, all right? Let's go to the next. Include a mix of hand-drawn and digital work. We all know it is the time of the AI. We do a lot of things. We do our sketches on our iPads, we convert them into digital renders, right? So all of that is a mix of the kind of skills that you are already exploring even before you join the design school, right? So you can include a good mix of your hand-drawn sketches, your digital work, which will help us understand how versatile you are as an individual, correct? What are the different mediums that you're comfortable working with? and what have you further explored. All right. As Mandar just said, it's the journey, correct? All right, so the different techniques. Now, I'm sure we all understand what are the different techniques in terms of sketching, hatching, rendering, correct? The different mediums, whether it's charcoal, it's acrylic colors, it's posters, it's digital renders, all of these are part of your journey. Okay, the different approaches that you take to create your, your final output, right? How do you really highlight it? Have you used something like a mixed medium, correct? Did you do just a wireframe sketch and then did you digitally render it, right? So these are multiple ways you would have thought of and created your final outputs, correct? So use these different techniques, and that is how you can shape your portfolio. Okay, we all understand this is storytelling, right? And as we know, it's a narrative that is yours, correct? It has to come forward telling us what he or she is really interested in. How do they look at design, correct? What are their thought processes? What is their journey like, correct? So a narrative is very, very, very important. And doing proper subtitles, annotations, one line, that tells us why have you done this is very critical, is very important. So oftentimes this is your time where you're not present to explain, correct? You've submitted this. You want the people to understand what is your thought process. So a proper annotation there really guides us into the process of why did you do that? All right. So please do not forget to have proper narrative through your subtitles and annotations. And yes, like we say, there's a beginning, there is the middle part where we see the substance, and then there's the end of it. Correct? There's a conclusion. So you can start with the good introduction that tells us about you, your journey. Why did you choose design? What were your thought processes? Was there something as a kid that you realized? Correct? As growing up, did you make some observations? Right? There are things that shape us into what we are. Right? So this is your introduction, 100 to 100 words, where you tell us what you are, who you are, what are your achievements like, why do you want to pick design as a career choice, right? Then you have the midsection where your work speaks, all of your skills, mixed media, all of that comes together. And finally, a conclusion to guide us to evaluate you better. All right. So these are the three parts that you can think of as bifurcations for your portfolio. Start with an introduction, showcase your journey, and then conclude it. All right. With your thoughts. Right. Another very, very important question is that we've had as students when we were learning design. What's the file size? So it clearly says 25 MB is what we have. That is reserved for a good portfolio size. We can easily do 20 slides within that. And as we said, if you have something to do, talk about your audio, your videos, in terms of, say, you've done a dance performance, or it's something to do with sports, something to do with an extracurricular activity, or maybe a social impact project that you did in your school time, correct? There are multiple things that will stand out as maybe opportunities that you've been part of, right? You can put them all together into an audio video file as well. And that's an additional 25 MB. All right. Great. Okay, so the next part, what kind of work can we include? Well, you can have a diverse work in terms of the different forms that you've done, right? Like your design projects. I'm sure maybe, even in the school levels right now, we're doing some kind of design projects, right? Maybe you have your own observations, maybe interacting with people, daily life, traveling, right? You put them down into your sketchbooks, right? So these could also be your own projects that you have. It could also be projects given to you by your faculty members, right? You can put forward your creative ideas in terms of what do you believe maybe the world should look like, correct? What do you think about a fashion garment or maybe a Zomato logo, correct? We have these different things that we are always observing at a subconscious level, right? And we put them down as thoughts, and then we start sketching and tweaking these ideas, right? So this is also a part of your idea process that we want to see. Okay. Experiments, as rightly said, yes, experiments are very important. You're trying to play with materials, for example. Are you trying to create a fusion in between? Like I said, are you trying to play with a mix of digital renders with some manual sketches, and maybe trying to create some different outputs? Maybe you're also incorporating AI into your final renders and seeing what difference does it make, correct? How does it make your sketch more cleaner? So these are the kind of things that you would have tried. Do showcase that into your portfolio as well. All right, this is again very important, and we often talk about it. Many times in the design studio projects, when we are trying to work with things, when we're trying to make things, we definitely do models, we definitely do prototypes, different kinds of digital prototypes like apps, UI, UX. You could include that into it, maybe through storyboarding, all of that. But they could also be physical models, right? Maybe something as basic as paper, which is the most basic material that we have all interacted with, right? Paper, file card, all of these things that you've used to maybe make a scaled down chair or a stool, anything that you've done that is creative, definitely include that into your process. Okay, another important thing, science projects. I'm sure we've all done something, right? As students, we've all played with multiple kinds of things. We've tried clay as a material, maybe to make mountains and do some science projects, right? So put that in. Maybe you've tried Arduino, you've tried some kind of electronics in your school level as well, correct? Bring that to the table. What was your learning? What did you like about it? Where did you find the limitations coming in? Document that. All right. Also, visual narratives, again, maybe in the form of storyboarding, right? Could be mind maps. All of these come together to kind of explain your journey. So the narrative in a visual format, how do you showcase that? Limited text, more of visuals is what we're also looking forward
And it could also
to.
be something that you have explored in terms of visuals only, right? Maybe it's a
Yeah,
comic, maybe it's an illustration, maybe it's
absolutely.
various things that you are trying. Again, what we are saying is not a list of all the things you have to do. These are just some possibilities. So don't take it as okay, we have to do all of these things. Does not mean that
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Again, a lot of things may apply to a certain kind of project. So also keep an eye open for that. As we said, digital renders, UI UX work. Maybe you've relooked at one of these, delivery apps and trying to do your own version. Maybe you've relooked at some logo that you really like and thought of how will it look in 10 years from now, correct? All of these things are creative things that you've done. These are very individual, right? Because it's your portfolio. So do not forget, just add these to your portfolio. Okay. Any creative collaborations, maybe with an institute, right? With any design agency, maybe with the NGOs, trying to do something for maybe animals on the street. There are a lot of things that students often get into in terms of creative collaborations, right? So do not limit yourself. If you've done something for any of these different areas, put that forward. Maybe take another slide for it and just explain what have you done here. What was your role as a student, as a designer over here? Okay. Again, yeah, it's not limited to only design, and creativity and art in terms of just sketching and rendering and trying to solve problems. But there's also a lot of creative side when it comes to poems, when it comes to theater, when it comes to performing arts, right? All of these are definitely very much required, and we value all of that as a contribution that you come with, correct? So if you have, maybe if you're learning Kathak, if you have that as a video, as one of the things that you want to showcase, why not? Correct. Likewise, you could be doing multiple other things. You would be playing maybe basketball at a national level. Who knows, right? So put that into your portfolio. Great. So we've talked about the physical models, right? We can use basic materials, something as basic as paper. You could use file card, corrugated sheets. You don't really have to go and dig into cement and concrete and all of that. For now, your things could be much simpler. You can take clay to shape a lot of things, everyday objects that you like. Maybe make a version that is a little bigger, a little smaller. Try to play with the scale. Try to manipulate the material at home. All of these things are they're very fun, and they also tell you oftentimes it guides you in a way to understand, okay, whether I'm enjoying this, is this for me, and once you start liking certain things, it's very natural. You'll deep dive into it, you'll get into YouTube, will try and search more things till the time you come here, join us and get into our labs. Okay.
So the goal of talking about this a little bit more also is to just get this point across that uh, what we are not looking for a finished prototype which is working, which is successful, which is in the market. That's not what a physical model or a prototype means. It means
Yeah,
it's just a physicality of an idea. So like Gaurav was saying, it could be pieces of paper that you have stuck together with glue, which did not work, which is fine. It could be something that you've done with rubber bands or things that you have around. So don't think of prototype as, let's say, the final answer. There is nothing right or wrong. This is just a way for you
absolutely.
to kind of express. So we
Absolutely.
spoke about this. I mean,
Yeah,
electronics, science projects, visual narratives, maybe a little bit more. A visual narrative simply means that it's a creative idea expressed visually or expressed more in two dimensions. So it could be on paper, it could be on a digital screen. And don't be limited to what conventionally visual design is. I mean, we are all visual now, and if you see Instagram stories or if you see Snapchat or any of the other apps, right, you're always building a story. Anytime you put a story, you're always building a narrative in terms of what you've done. It could be memes, it could be a variety of things. So the name might feel that it's serious and it's heavy, but that's not the goal. So look at how you're telling the story and really creating interesting visuals. For digital and UI UX also, Gaurav already spoke about it, but um, now it's so easy to kind of get a clickable prototype or a lookalike like that, right? I mean, you put some sketches in it and then it's done. So I would say try that, experiment with it. But every time or any time that you're explaining your work, make sure that your thinking is explained also. So where, and especially with digital and UI UX work, make sure that you're not randomly doing screen after screen and flooding 15 slides with endless screens just because they look good. But be very curious, curate your portfolio. Um, Creative collaborations also with Gaurav spoke about institutions, but it could be your friends that you have collaborated with. It could be an NGO. It could be maybe a local shop that you have collaborated with. It does not mean that these are freelance projects or these are paid projects and you've solved the problem of the world. It's your attempt at putting something out in the world. It could be as simple as a cleanup drive on the beach, or it could be volunteering, whatever you have done. What we are trying to give you is a wide bouquet of options, but it's not limited to this. Yeah. And of course, we spoke about poems, theater, more. And this really deals with expression of who you are. Yeah. So, uh, yeah,
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 talking about structuring it, how can we kind of, put it all together? As we've already discussed, a short introduction about who you are, correct? That should be the first part of your portfolio. You will always, always take that time to understand which one suits where, whether you want to showcase your skill sets first, or you want to talk about a very interesting project that you're very, you put in a lot of effort into, correct? So plan it all in an order where you get a lot of clarity for yourself. How are you showcasing your journey, your narrative, right? So that it comes across to us. So just plan that thematically as well. Okay. Again, we've discussed subtitles. Descriptions are very important because they give us insights into your thought process, what was going on in your mind, how did you evaluate certain design decisions, how did you go about from step one to step two, making more sketches or maybe more prototypes. It just tells us a little more about your thought process. So definitely subtitles, descriptions are required. Like Mandar said, work in progress. You don't have to be the best at all of these different skills, right? I mean, none of us was the best in all the subjects back in school, right? Correct. So maybe even if these are work in progress sketches, if there are iterations that you come up with, and maybe even if your final solution is not there, correct? Even if there's the journey that you can showcase us, we are interested to look at that. All right. So how do you really document your approach is very, very all right, so this is again very interesting. How will you evaluate our portfolio? Well, there are multiple ways that we will look at it in terms of a student portfolio. First is your the project itself, the diversity in the project. How do you think? What different things have you touched base upon, right? How relevant are they, or how relevant are they not? Oftentimes we think a portfolio should only be about design projects and design skills, but maybe Manda will talk a little about what do we mean by relevance in terms of projects and how open we are in terms of our thought process.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So the when we say your portfolio will be assessed based on, um, again, it's not a rubric, it's not a 1:1. Okay, if you do this, this happens. So don't take it as a template. But these are the lenses through which your portfolio is being. So diversity, like Gaurav said, of course, would mean the variety of things that you have tried, right? The diversity or the breadth or the width of things. And relevance does not mean that okay, so for example, if someone is interested in design of physical products, relevance does not mean that all your work is now limited to that or only addressing that, because we are a transdisciplinary program. It's a BITSDES honors without any specialization as such, so you're really looking at design across disciplines, but a relevance to your story, right? So the relevance to who you are, relevance to your passion, it should not be something which is disconnected. Your portfolio is not a collection of 6 random projects that have no connection to each other. There should be something which kind of ties them in. hear project depth and conceptual thinking. So when we say project depth, you have to look at why you have done what you've done. And it leads back to what we were saying earlier in terms of working process, in terms of the design process, in terms of what all have you tried. So depth really answers this question. So let's say if I've done a new logo for Zomato, for example, uh, depth would come from your explanation of why does it need to be redesigned in the first place? What did you look at in terms of competition? What were you trying to achieve? And how did you try to achieve it? How did you, which path did you follow? So that would be depth compared to just saying this is the original logo and this is my new logo. And it's good because it's nice or because it looks cool. So
Yeah.
depth really showcases the step-by-step thinking. So think of depth as, um, in maths, when you have an exam and if you just write the answer, uh, then that does not fly, right? You have to give the logical reasoning as to how you arrived at the answer. Again, don't worry about it being right or wrong. Just be honest with yourself in terms of the process. And think conceptually. Think in terms of, okay, what does a logo mean? Why should a logo be there at all? How will it evolve in the future? Don't only think in terms of skill. Third is
Absolutely.
the technical competence, which means how good you are at using tools, okay, which is now independent. Your point two was about the depth, conceptual thinking. Point three is about maybe if you have explored Photoshop or Procreate or Blender or any of the other tools, maybe you are an expert in Miro or Figma. So technical competence is not limited to 2D or 3D or things like that, but any tool. Maybe you are an expert in email. We don't know. Maybe you're expert in DMs and Instagram. I don't know. So look at technical competence from that point of view and to showcase your skills with a particular tool. Portfolio text and introduction. So this is the third time we are repeating it. So you know that it's important. Please make sure you have annotations, little text, which really give us an idea of what you are presenting, because you will not be presenting. We'll be seeing your portfolio independently of you. So that's the fourth. Process and iteration, again, we can't stress it enough. Um, Avoid putting just the final image, just the final solution, just the final idea. Take us through the process, take us through your iterative cycles. And finally, the presentation and layout, right? The visual quality of your. So here, make sure that font sizes and everything else is kind of readable. It's something that can be seen correctly. Before submitting your portfolio, you can maybe share it with a few friends, ask them if they're able to see it well on a screen, do some trials and so on. So that's your 6 points around which an audience is going to look at your portfolio. I think, I mean, we spoke a little bit about this, but does your portfolio display a variety of projects? Are the works clearly related to design? So again, like Gaurav was saying, not all work has to
Yeah.
be traditional design. So it could be poetry, chess, sports, theater. And your portfolio can highlight all these different skills, shape you as a designer. Um, Again, how deeply have you engaged with your projects? Does it show experimentation, research? Is it about strong concepts or just an iteration of something which exists? Technical competence, it could be hand drawing, digital skills, other technical skills. Does the text clearly explain your design choices and thought process? Does it connect your work to your passion for design? Does your introduction, who you are, the projects that you have showcased, do all of these three make sense together? Does it explain your design choices and thought process clearly? Does it connect your work to your passion for design? Um, and finally, we are talking about presentation and layout. So in terms of hierarchy, readability, spacing, balance, font choice, color choice, consistency, and so on. So you would see that we have kind of repeated a few things. We really want to get that point across. And I think there is um, uh, enough, let's say, specificity or enough direction for you to maybe get an overall understanding of what kind of portfolio is relevant to bits design. This is a very important aspect, and Gaurav was speaking about that, right? In terms of ChatGPT, in terms of AI tools, in terms of, everyone has access to everything now. Anyone can create things like that. So, uh, anything that you submit should be original and created by you. Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as that. It should not be something that you have uh, taken from the internet. It should not be something that is a part of someone else's portfolio. It should not be something that already exists and you've just changed the name and put it there. Now, I understand that some of you might have some content where you've said that, okay, this is a great chair done by a great designer and I have taken inspiration. In that case, put it down. So that, yes, I was inspired by Charles Henry Eames and the chair, and then I've done a new version like that. Yeah. Um, if any of the work seems professionally assisted or plagiarized, it will have consequences. Now, another big part of a portfolio is, remember, you are not going to be there to explain it, right? We are going to see it on a screen the way we are seeing this now. So it is you who would have had to make that portfolio and everything that is in it. Yeah. If it is something that is made by someone else, if it is, let's say, for example, if it's your idea, but you have uh, someone else has made the slide for you, or someone else has sketched it for you, someone else has rendered it for you, that's something that is not going to work. Everything that you do, don't be under the pressure of doing the right thing or doing the best thing. Do what you can do best. The portfolio is about you. It's not about what is, like I said, right or wrong. Anytime we feel that there is a doubt, if we feel that this seems maybe professionally done or plagiarized, which means copied from somewhere, it's quite a serious concern. Um, Final tips, not that we need final tips, Gaurav, but let's say
Yeah.
another recap of the recap. Keep your portfolio visually strong and well structured. Showcase diversity, depth, and relevance in your projects. Very important. Tell a clear story about your passion for design. Um, Show your process, iterations, design decisions. Keep the text concise but meaningful. Make sure that the text talks about what the image is and talks and says something more about it. Don't put a image of an idea of a logo that you've done, and below the image put down, this is an idea of a logo that I was thinking, right? Think about this, the logo, this idea tries to represent balance, for example, and things like that. So the text has to go beyond the visual. And finally, your portfolio is your story, right? Especially in this age of AI where it's so common to do everything at a much higher level visually. It's very easy to get lost in the crowd because everyone can prompt, everyone can create the same images. And you must have seen it now over the past 2 years, the internet kind of flooding with the same kind of images everywhere. Think about portfolio as a chance for you to stand out, to do what is uncommon with everything else, right? So your portfolio is your story. Enjoy creating it. Uh, this is not a 12 standard exam where you have to take stress. So if you enjoy creating your portfolio, if you enjoy doing your work, it will show in the portfolio as well. So have fun, experiment, and most importantly, let it reflect who you truly are. Don't try to be someone else. I think there is um, enough content online which is trying to tell everyone how to be a good designer, how to be the right designer, how to be an influencer, how to have a passive income before you're 20, how to become a millionaire, and so on, right? So I think there is enough bombardment on you guys. So let that be. Let it reflect who you truly are. and don't try to be someone else. Yeah, I think
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's more or less it from us. And I think we are open for questions. Yeah, Kumaran?
Thank you, Mandar. Thank you, Gaurav, for such information on portfolio that will help the students to create a good one, and that will help in getting selected for the best science school. Let me say just repeat one because we are getting so many questions regarding the size and the number of slides. So let me repeat it again. Students, we are having the limit on the size, that is 25 MB. So uploading PDF is compulsory, right? So it can be in slides, pages, or artworks. Slides, you do not have to upload that in PPT format. So you need to convert the file into PDF. It can be, and say, as told by Gaurav, it can be 20, 25 artworks, which is combination of everything is told by both the faculties. So the size is 25 MB. The limitation is in size. So uploading the portfolio in PDF is compulsory. Plus, if you have any, say, videos or any animated related artworks, you can create a video, which is optional. So uploading our portfolio in the video format is optional. The size is again 25 MB. So if I am a student and I'm uploading the portfolio in both the format, the 25 plus 25 is the maximum limit, right? Because we were getting so many questions on the word slide. So I thought of clarifying it. And also, we have a few questions, Mandar and Gaurav, for you on the same. So let me go one by one. First of all, we have a question from Vishaka. Her question is, I did an extensive summer school in design field and worked on lot of things like product photography, fashion styling, product designing, etc. Can I add those work in my portfolio? Also, would there be any specifications regarding it?
So I can take that. I think the short answer is yes, you should. All these are ways in which you are kind of expressing your creative thinking and you're expressing your technical competence in terms of photography, your creative thinking, creative process, decision making. So yes, specifications, like we said, we are not going to really specify how many slides for what project. I think that that's something that you have to take into account, but make sure that every slide that you put tells a story. There is a particular uh, objective to it. And you can go back and look at the lenses through which your portfolio is going to be evaluated, and you can see what project fits where. Yeah. I hope that makes it a little bit more clear.
Yeah, thank you. So we have another questions regarding the BITS Design School. So does BITS Design School expect students to be savvy with popular designing apps like Photoshop, Figma, Blender? So does it matter if student has made same kind of work but using Canva or PPT? Does it affect the design work?
Okay. So it's a longer question, which probably we can have a 2 hour debate on it. So the first thing is we expect the students to have a creative mindset and not really expect anyone to be well versed with any particular tool. It's not as if you have to know Figma, you have to know Photoshop, you have to know. I think you have to be able to think in that way. You are going to enter in year one, and the tools are something that you will learn. I mean, we are also learning the tools. Tools change, and now tools change every 6 months, maybe every year. So don't worry about being required to know any particular tool. I don't think that that's a requirement. Now, using apps like Canva to make a presentation. So that's, I think it has its use. If you are learning to understand the principles of visual design, then Canva does not help because it does not give you that space to engage with visual design, right? So if you're just worried about the result, you have something to do in 10 minutes, you have to finish it. Canva is great. But if you really want to learn and then go beyond, remember we are talking about how to be uncommon and how to be unique. Uh, just imagine if everyone is using Canva and all presentation starts to look the same. and then you come in with something which is out of the Canva templates, then you will anyway have a advantage. So I would say people use Canva, people use other apps as well, but they are also expected once you are in school to learn a variety of other tools as well. Yeah.
Can I add a point here, Mandar?
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
In fact, I think I'd see it this way as a student, and if I'm especially applying for a design school where I want to learn design, and we talked about these different things like composition and skills, and your font choices, selections, overall, how do you compose a slide, how do you create your backgrounds? I think all of this is the creative fun part of the thing, right? And I'm sure you don't want to take that out of your composition, right? You don't want to take that out of your portfolio and rely on a slide that maybe every alternate student is using, right? Because it looks really nice and flashy and good, correct? So this is your chance to actually create and design your own slides and then see how do you visually put together your storytelling, right? Maybe you could have something that is tied down by colors, right, of different parts of different sections of your portfolio, right? Maybe different colors open up on different slides in a different way. The font is according to that, correct? So all of this is the creative part. I mean, if I were you, if any one of us was here designing our own portfolio, especially when you have the time, like Mandar said, if it's something that needs maybe to be done in 2 days and submitted online, that's a different thing, correct? Here you're talking your journey, that's why it's important that maybe take that little effort.
Yeah, thank you. So we have one more question, which talks about the digital works. So the question is, in some of my digital works, I have started with assets that are licensed under Creative Commons. So may I still add those projects if I credit the original asset? For example, I have used a 3D model of an astronaut in one of my animations, but I have made the rest of the scene on my own. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Yes, absolutely. But what you need to do is to communicate. Remember, we are talking about annotations and text. So you'll have to make it clear that I have done this. Out of this, these three assets are taken from a Creative Commons license, and this is my input. So as long as you make it clear, we understand that not everyone is going to reinvent the wheel and make everything from scratch, and not all projects are going to be like this. And it's fine. You have taken something which exists, you have put them together in a new and a creative way, and then you have created a new output. And most of design is also going to be like that, where you're not going to reinvent the wheel every time, but you're going to put things together in a new and a more creative way. But make sure that you explain it well, and you make it clear in terms of what your input is and what has come off the shelf.
Yeah, Amanda, you spoke about the annotations and the titles of the portfolio that you need to add. So we have one more question. Is there any specific format for, say, writing the subtitles, titles, or annotations?
No. Short answer is no. Just make sure it is readable, make sure it makes sense, and that's that. We are not going to provide any template for it. Be as creative and as honest to yourself. You need to feel that this is mine.
And the question is related to the stream. That is, the portfolio that he or she is making should align with the stream that they are applying to. Or example, say they're applying for UI UX. So does it contain it should contain the work of other streams too, or they should be related to the same stream?
So your portfolio is not stream specific. Your portfolio is to look at a creative career. So today you might be interested in UI UX or digital products. Tomorrow it might evolve into something else. At BITS, you're also not going to choose a pathway until the end of the third semester. So the short answer is no. It does not need to. If that's your natural passion and interest and curiosity, I'm sure your portfolio will have more work related to that, but that's not a requirement at all.
So can one take help of AI tools for creating the portfolio? So that's a question by another student.
Yeah, we had put a countdown timer, thinking how many minutes will pass before we get this AI question. So it's a good question. It's something that we are all faced with every time. So I would say that it depends on the intent, and it's a little bit similar to Canva and the other question also, right? If you're talking about, let's say for example, if you have created a series of images where you wanted to reimagine uh, Ramayana, let's say, and you thought that instead of drawing it out, I'm going to use Midjourney or any of the other tools and to create it. Now, if you showcase it as two slides with just two images without anything around it, we are going to assume that this is something that you have done by hand and there is no other context to it. But if you say that, start the slide by saying that I wanted to experiment with AI, I've used Midjourney. These are the prompts. When I prompted this, I got this image. After this, I used the iterative process. I didn't like this, so I changed the prompt, then I got this. And if you put your own reflection and your own understanding of the tool, then yes, using AI is an experiment. Using AI is a tool. If you use it to create 50 projects in one day, it will come across. So don't use it as an escape. Whenever you're using it, put it down on the slide that I've used this AI tool. And what did you learn from it? What was your experience? Did it help you? So if you put it like that, then it's a very honest expression of your usage of the tool. If you just you have a, let's say if you have a page of drawings and in that you have put 4 or 5 drawings which were made by AI without saying anything, then it's not honest because the viewer will think that everything is hand done by you. So whenever you're using AI, put it in the slide, mark it out, and try to tell us what was your experience using the AI. Yeah.
Yeah, this question from one of the student is, my whole portfolio I have done is an interactive website. It can be shown in a PDF. So can I give the link to the site in the PDF itself? I need help regarding this.
So I think that's great that it's an interactive PDF, sorry, an interactive website. I think you will have to, the website is good, but you'll have to create that PDF. Your PDF can't just have that link. So put the link in the PDF, but you will have to create a PDF version of that website as well. Need not be the entire website. It could be a small version where we understand who you are and it kind of covers those aspects. And then there is a link where if you want to know, if the audience wants to know more, they can go to the website. You could also include the process of making the website and why did you make the website as well. But yes, a PDF is going to be needed, even though you have it on a website. Yeah.
A student named Ayushi Sharma has a doubt that I have made a UI UX project as a part of my Google professional certification course. Can I attach the link of my case study into the portfolio, or do I need to add individual slides explaining that project?
You will need to add individual slides. So the audience is going to look at the PDF and they should be required to go out of the PDF for anything extra. So if the audience wants to know more about your project, sure, they can click a link and go there. But your PDF can't have very little information in it because primarily the PDF is what the audience is going to scan. So you can put maybe 2 slides which give a gist of what that project was, what was interesting in it, what you did. And you can say that for more information, detailed information, you can click on the link and the audience can go there. But just to make it even more clear, the PDF can't be a list of 10 links where the audience has to click to find each project. The PDF has to be complete on its own.
So we have a question from Aditya Bose asking, I have coded and created an AI platform itself. It's still under process and the website isn't live. This AI GPT I coded by me, it was coded by me. Most probably, I will make the website public in first year. Can I mention it in my portfolio as it shows my UI UX skills? The AI is
Yes,
meant to analyze the stocks.
analyze the.
Stock.
Yes, absolutely. But don't just mention it like Gaurav was saying. Give us a little bit of a background into what your process was to design that tool, that AI tool.
Question from Ranveer asking, can coding projects also be included? Like, for example, if I made an AI-based agent to answer WhatsApp messages or something like that, that can be included.
Yes, yes. Coding, decision making, computational thinking, soft robotics, anything that is of your interest can be included. But what we would say is try to avoid um, uh, assignments, or try to avoid things which were, okay, these were the 10 steps which were online. I followed those 10 steps and I did it. I understand that this is not what the student is saying, but I'm just saying overall. So try to avoid classwork and assignments. If it's a project that you had an idea about and you created it from your own thinking, yes, absolutely. Design, uh, the portfolio is not limited, or it does not mean only physical objects or digital objects, or what has conventionally been the creative aspect, which is art related. There's a lot of science, there's a lot of logical thinking involved as well. So yes.
Yeah, one question is regarding, I came from a science background and haven't had any formal design training classes or coaching. Most of my artwork are based on reference images I find on Google. Would it be acceptable to include such pieces or would it be considered under plagiarism?
So if you include the reference image in the slide and say that this was my reference and this is how I have tried to recreate it, and explain your challenges, explain your journey, it's fine.
The question for you, Gaurav, the same regarding the slides. When you say 20 slides, does it mean 20 projects? Or what if one of my projects consists of 2 pages?
That's perfectly fine. I mean, it again depends. Certain projects, as we've discussed, could be 2 pages, 3 pages as well, right? So that is perfectly fine. But yeah, 20 is like a max limit that we're looking at. We don't want you to have a lot of things that you showcase. So to some extent, we can say it's a very early learning of even shortlisting. What do you want to, project forward, correct? So which is why we have around 15 to 20 slides, which is good enough for you to explain your journey, your thought process, your skills, or the kind of questions we're getting in terms of the different kind of projects to do with tech and all of that, right? It's a good number of pages, definitely. But I don't look at it as 20 different projects altogether, correct? Because then that would mean 20 into 2 pages or 3 pages. That's not what we're looking at. Okay, I hope it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. I have made all my sketches and other things when I was in seventh and eighth grade. Now I'm in residential campus for 2 years. Can't add more anything more now. So will that be enough for my portfolio?
Gaurav, you want to take that?
Um, Definitely you can include that, but is that enough is something that you should ask yourself. Correct. Seventh, eighth is another age group, correct? Maybe the things that you like to eat back then is not the same now, correct? There are changes there itself, right? So why not to change your own sketches, your own skill sets, your observations around the kind of people you're interacting with, the world that you see is so different, right? It's been many years now, correct? So maybe a fresh set of eyes, a fresh set of skills. Um, I don't know how much time you have right now left to make your final portfolio, but definitely there's always a scope, even within 24 hours, to make 2, 3 interesting sketches, or within a week to think about some kind of projects which are even hypothetical. Like we've already discussed, there could be a basic case study that you like and you started working on it. As long as we are able to see your thought process, the right attitude, how do you approach things, how do you make decisions, that is more important. You don't have to have the best skills. You're coming here, to learn from us all of that, correct? But yes, I don't think only that will help you. What do you feel, Mandar? I think maybe your opinion on that.
I agree. I think what you want to do is to uh, showcase the most, or the latest, or the most relevant version of yourself, right? It's a portfolio is like a snapshot that March 2025, I was this. June 2025, you might be completely different, or Jan 2024, you might have been completely different. So ideally, I would say that try to get work which is representative of who you are today, and maybe a seventh and a eighth grade work, I don't think might be the most relevant. Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Gaurav, you can tell the weightage of if you have any weightage for traditional sketchwork or versus the digital sketchwork in the portfolio. So do you have any
Mandar, do
such
you
kind
want
of
to answer
weightage?
that? Hmm.
Correct. No, I think so. What we are doing here also is we are kind of tool agnostic. So what that means is you have your approach, your observation skills, your thinking skills, your process, and then you have a variety of tools in which you externalize it. So it could be through drawing, it could be through coding, it could be through digital work, it could be through making. Maybe some of us just want to go and work on a potter's wheel. So there is no differentiation between one person doing hand skills, the other person doing digital skills, Photoshop skills, AI skills. At the end of the day, all of these are tools. Now, does the tool really, does your work communicate what that idea is? That's more important. If so, if you are comfortable with hand sketches, do hand sketches. Don't be under the pressure of, oh, everyone is doing Photoshop and some rendering, and then I also need to do the same. Yeah. So there is no differentiation for us between the two. There will be the goal. Please remember, the goal is not to look at everyone having kind of the same skill set and the same mind. There are in a cohort, there'll be some students who are very creative with words, some students are very
Right.
creative hand skills, some students are very creative in terms of taking decisions, some of them might be very creative in terms of how they speak to other people. So there is a variety of ways in which you can be creative, and all of them are important. So don't worry about this balance between digital is better or hand skills are better.
Thank you, Mandar. Gaurav. I think we have finished with the question and answers, which were unique, and other questions were answered by the counselors. You have anything last to tell Mandar or Gaurav?
Gaurav,
Um,
any words?
yeah, I think just like you mentioned, just enjoy the process. It's your first step towards, a creative a journey that you're starting, right? Maybe you're already on it, correct? But definitely, I think we've multiple times repeated it. But yes, showcase the entire process. Okay, how have you arrived, right? I mean, look at it this way: you're going to a theater to watch your favorite Avengers, and you see the introduction and then you see the end result, correct? You will definitely not enjoy that as a movie. You want to see what happened between the 2 hours, right? So that's exactly what we're looking at. We're looking at your journey and what all things that excite you. What are the things that you really like about design? What is your viewpoint? Correct. If you can put that across to us, even if you don't have the best of the best skills right now or the best of the best iPads, that's perfectly fine. That's not what we're looking at right now. Okay. And as Mandar has said it multiple times, just have fun. It's not something that should burden. It's just the creative part. So enjoy it. That's my last bit.
So just
Thank you. Thank
maybe for a
Yeah.
minute to add, thank you, Gaurav. Well put. All of us remember that time when we were applying to a design school, right? And making that portfolio, the first portfolio, it will always be special. You will
Yeah.
remember this experience. So, like Gaurav was saying, enjoy it, enjoy the experiences. Make sure that the portfolio really reflects who you are, really
Totally.
reflects
Yeah.
who you are today. So don't worry about trying to match up to someone else's standards. Just be who you are and be honest. Yeah.
Thank you both of you for motivating them and sharing experiences. Yeah, everyone, this video will be uploaded on YouTube maybe by the upcoming week. So if any of you want to say see the things again, want to look at the factors again, you can visit our Buds Design School YouTube channel by next week, and you can see that. If any, apart from this, if you have any more queries on portfolio or any other thing, you can email us to admissions@budsdesign.edu.in, or you can call our boardline numbers. Thank you, Gaurav, and thank you, Mandar, for your inputs on
Thank you.
portfolio. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thank you. All the best.
Bye.